So I have a hypothesis. This thing blew some head gaskets at some point because it's a Land Rover, right? What's going on, guys? It's Dan, Flawedoffroad. We haven't been out to the shop for quite a while. It is January 20th, and we've got something different in here. Some of you guys probably aren't going to like it. Some of you probably are. But this is my 2003 Land Rover Discovery 2, and it has been sitting in my driveway dead for 3 years and 2 months. And it's time to get it running. I'm tired of kicking this can down the road. So I've got some previous footage from when I was diagnosing it that I'll play in a minute, but what it boils down to is cylinder 1 is dead, like 100% misfired, 0 fires at all. Did a compression test, it passed that, and then I pulled the spark plug off and it gets spark, so that leaves fuel, and I've got fuel injectors for it. To get to those, we got to pop the intake off, and that's the coil packs live behind there. So we're just going to go ahead and do plugs, wires, and coil packs while we're at it. I don't usually throw parts at stuff, but I'm hoping one of these sticks. But, you know, I did some diagnosing, and I'm pretty sure it's this fuel injector. Anyway, we got a bunch of stuff to tear apart here. And let me just show you a little bit of this footage of how this happened. Sounds like shit. She's got a bad mist to her. Let's see if I can't figure out which one it is by punching the manhole. Ooh, that's that one, the front one on this side. So that's number 1, maybe? Does not sound good. I think I've either got a lifter or valve out. That ticking's pretty bad though. I think it was last September. I was on my way home from work and I was slowing down to a stop and I could just hear tick, 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 and then it started flashing the check engine light, which I'm surprised it's not even on, much less flashing right now. And it's just gonna run away idle apparently. There it goes. So that's for the misfire. Long story short, it quit running good. I parked it. I don't have time to mess with it, and it sat here for a very long time, and I got a hair at my butt today. Running some motor flush through it, and I'm also going to try some Marvel Mystery Oil after I dump this oil out of there, and I'm hoping like hell it's just a sticky lifter and that it will free itself. Now this thing has some other stuff wrong with it. There's no oxygen sensors in this vehicle. Whoever put the headers on decided to just put plugs in where the O2 sensors go and unplug them, so I just have random plugs dangling down here. I believe this is one right here. It's a little weird with the idle sometimes, and I have a sticking throttle body. I could keep talking all day about all the crap that's wrong with it, or I could just grab some tools and start taking crap apart. Real quick, I'll show you what we got. I got OEM fuel injectors. They are rebuilt, new screens, new O-rings, and they're balance matched. And then we've got NGK wires, got iridium plugs. I don't normally buy Autolite, but the Land Rover people said these were the ones, so that's what I got. And then I got 2 Bosch ignition coils, because if I got to take the intake off to get to all this stuff, I'm just going to replace that crap while it's apart. It's been a while since I've had anything apart on this thing, but we just got to make some room to work. There's one thing out the way. This throttle has been kind of sticking, so I'm gonna go through and lubricate all this crap. That'll happen when you let it sit for a couple years. I really have no idea what all has to come apart here. I'm just kind of winging it. Now luckily this thing had that secondary air injection and it's been deleted, so there's a lot of stuff that I don't have to move because it's already gone, which is nice. Got the feeling the AC is gonna have to come out of the way. Some vacuum lines. We're not gonna drop the first freaking bolt we take off now, come on. Man, this has a lot of these plugs with those stupid square metal clips that I hate because they like to go flying when you get them off of there. More wires, more wires. This stuff needs some extra lume on it. It's all stripped off of there. These throttle cables gotta come off. If I remember right, you gotta loosen them, and there's this little slot that will allow them to come out. Yep, just like so. Tell you what, with this big old winch bumper on here, I can barely reach this. I am on my tippy toes. two-piece fan shroud that's fairly well broken. Got a feeling that's gonna want to slip off of there. Yep. The fan's kind of in the way. I wonder if I can do it with a wrench. Jeepers creepers, that's not how I had it planned. This is a coolant line. You know what, it looks like it plugs in above where my coolant level's at, so maybe it won't leak too much if I pull it off. Could be worse. I do not want this to crack. The AC does not work in this thing. I remember now, this sat on the header and melted through, so I just cut it off. It was on my list of things to do to get new hoses and recharge it. I just never did it. Yeah, you can just chill right there, Mr. Guy. And these things look brittle. I should just get a new line and replace it. I really don't know much about these Land Rovers. Oh, that just snapped off that freaking barb. Oh well, it's one that threads in, it looks like. If this part comes out anyway. Well, I think I got most of it, but I'm sure I missed some stuff. There's a couple of hidden bolts down in here. I can see 6 bolts anyway. Well, let's see if it... Feels like something's holding the back still. Well, it's definitely free. It's just a matter of getting that back corner to pop. There we go. Ta-da! Now let's make sure that we drop a bolt or something down the intake immediately while this is open. Look at that, all my fuel injectors. Coil packs are back there. We can get at everything. Well, that wasn't too bad getting it apart anyway. Let me give you a better look at this. So you can see now I have access to all these injectors, and the coil packs live right there. And I gotta find wherever I can relieve the fuel pressure, which may be right there. I think the next thing I'm gonna do is grab some rags and stuff them down those intake holes just so I don't lose nothing. Pull the coils out. That was kind of a fun endeavor, and I've got them numbered as if it was a Chevy. Yeah, my microphone died there, but pretty much what I was saying is I numbered everything like a small block Chevy. It turns out that is how the Land Rover's numbered, and I did that so that way when I could match up all the new plugs and the new coils, that I wrote it all on that stuff too, and that way I just can't get any of it wrong. I don't know if I have to disconnect fuel lines from these fuel rails. It's hard lines that go down. There's one single connector at the bottom, and that's flexible, so I may be able to just leave it connected. So I'm just gonna pull some bolts and see what happens. Oh God, that pulled right up out of there. That wire loom was kind of crumbling when I was messing with it, and it left some more crap down here. Nice. Looks like we've got clips on all of them. Okay, on some of them. Somebody's been here before. I'm gonna have to source some more of these clips because I've only got 2 on this side. Man, those are in there. They spin easy enough. Go. All right, it's been a couple days, but we're back on the Lawn Rover here. I don't remember if I showed you, but here we have the new coils and new wires. Now, I've seen people relocate these out to where they're more accessible, and I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna go that route or not. The point I'm at right now is those are my new they're actually rebuilt injectors from this company called New England Injector, I think. And this here is my problem culprit one, and it had some black stuff in there, and I tried like digging the screen out of there, and I haven't had much luck. We're gonna really hope that this does it. But before I start reassembling, I got a couple things to do. One of them being I gotta relume all this crap, and I've been trying to search if this stupid wire is supposed to bolt right here with the dipstick. It goes down to a bolt down there and grounds. It's like completely separate from all these all the way back to here. And so it was just this one wire that was snaked through here. And I don't know why, but I don't think it's right. Oh, and then the next thing, I don't have a valve cover gasket, but I think I'm gonna pop this valve cover and just see if I see anything on these valve springs. Now, I did have compression when I did the compression test, but you just never know. You never know, and there's never gonna be an easier time to check it than when all this stuff's apart, because you can't get this off with the intakes on. Probably gonna spin this thing over, find top dead center, and pop this cover off and just see what I see. Luckily, these plugs are all pretty easy to get to. I took the other side out already. So all these look really wet and stink like fuel, except for number one. It smells like fuel, but it's not wet like all these are. Let me show you what we're talking about here. So that's number one. Pretty clean, pretty dry. And then this is pretty much what the rest of them look like. I don't exactly see a timing mark down there. I know there's one on like the cam and crank gears when you take it all apart, but I'm not seeing one externally, so I'm just gonna stick something down in number one and turn it by hand. All the plugs are out, so it should turn pretty easy. Get number one to come up to the top, and that way the valve should be closed. Got me a screwdriver down in here. I can already feel the top of the cylinder, so we're pretty close. It's coming up. That's pretty much it right there. Close as we're gonna get. The valve should be closed. I love that this thing has this like removable top half of the shroud. It let me get down in there with this sucker. These bolts are 8mm head, but they're 12 point. And I have 12 point sockets, but most of them are at work. The ones I have here only go down to 9. But I got this little 8mm ignition wrench, and the combination in let me break them all free, so now I just get to sit here and go like 1/8 of a turn at a time. So it's probably gonna take me 20 minutes to get these bolts out. Dang, it looks clean in there. Probably should get a new gasket. There's a couple of cracks around the bolt holes and stuff, but I was not expecting this level of cleanliness. Dang, dude, check this out. This thing had to have like either had the head gaskets done or something done recently, because that is spotless in there. Oh wow. Oh wow. That one moves like 1/8 of an inch up and down. This one moves like 1/4 inch up and down. Maybe that's my misfire. And looky there. Silver bolt, silver bolt, silver bolt, black. Maybe we found our problem. That is wild. This one's not as much, but it has a bunch of in play. I guess one could say that this is another giveaway, the fact that I can just turn it. I'm gonna have to look up what the procedure is on this engine, because these kind of look like they bolt the whole shaft down, and I don't know if just snugging this closes this gap or not, or what kind of lifters are in here. I really don't know anything about this engine, but I'm gonna look up the procedure. I am at top dead center, so I could probably snug this one up. So I looked it up. They just need tightened to 30 foot-pounds. I went ahead and pulled this bolt out, cleaned it all off and everything, and I put some blue Loctite on there, and I'm gonna retighten it. And you know what, I better make sure those are seated in there properly first. Got this set to 30. Boy, that is pulling that down. My God. I'm so lucky this thing didn't just grenade. I think I'm forced to check the other side now too. Alright, let's go ahead and check these ones. Oh yeah, that one. I figured that one was loose too. With this one moving, it probably was starting to get on all of them. That one's tight. Ooh. Man, I'm starting to feel better about this project. Golly, I might get my Land Rover back. I really should replace this valve cover gasket. Let me show it to you. It wasn't leaking, and it really doesn't look terrible, but you can just see there's like a little partial crack right there. And one right there. It doesn't go all the way in. Normally I would just go order them, but it's a Land Rover. So it could be a week or more to get them. All right, so I have a hypothesis. Let me just tell you what I think happened here. This thing blew some head gaskets at some point because it's a Land Rover, right? Somebody did the heads before I bought it because it's way too clean to have 103,000 miles on it. And then they lost the bolts, and there's 3 hex bolts and then 1 flange bolt. I'm pretty sure this is not supposed to be just a regular hex bolt. It should at least have a washer on it though. I was gonna pull all these out one at a time, clean them, clean the threads, Loctite them. But now I think I'm going to be on the hunt for bolts. I'm super stoked, but I'm super disappointed that I didn't just tear this apart a long time ago. I've probably started this thing 20 times just to move it around the driveway, get it out of my way and stuff. I'm super happy nothing grenaded. At least I think nothing grenaded. I'm going to see if I can find new bolts now. And I'm going to pull the passenger side. So I went ahead and pulled this one too. This one's a lot harder to get out with these heater hoses here. Everything I read online says you have to disconnect these. But if you unscrew the oil fill out of the valve cover and you're really patient with it, you can slip it out and through here. Anyway, this side has 1 incorrect bolt and 3 of the flange bolts. Just guess which one was loose. 3 of them were tight and the incorrect one was not. I feel like I could just use the standard flange bolt, but check this out. For one, these ones they used were quite a bit shorter. These have a step down in them. And I believe that is so that oil can get in there. I don't know that for sure. But all these ones that are incorrect do not have that. So I'm going to see if maybe I can stop by the hardware store, find these exact flange bolts, and then I can turn them down myself. I don't know. It's that or I got to wait like a week and a half and order them from somewhere far, far away. So I figured out what we're going to do about this bolt situation. You want to say hi, Braxton?
Hi, Braxton.
You're a goon. Anyway, I was trying to take one of these incorrect bolts and simulate this step down, which I chucked it into the drill press and just took a grinder to it, and it's 0.325. So now that I know that, I have 4 flange bolts coming that are this exact length, but they just need this part, you know, redneck lathed basically, which is what I did to this one as a test. So now I don't have to pay $110 for 8 bolts. I just have to do some work on them. And Buddy's just out here keeping me company today, huh?
Hi.
It's Friday, and I think I got most of the stuff I need to work on this. Namely, the bolts arrived. These obviously aren't the right bolts, and we're gonna fire up the old redneck lathe here. And I made lines on these. This is where that stepped down, and now this is 0.365, and on those it was 0.325. I'm gonna get it as close as I can. The point is so that oil can travel through there. We're gonna give it a go and see what happens. Got this turned up on high speed so it spins really fast. I don't like how bouncy that is. It's really rough. We only took a little bit off. I think I'm just going to use that to make my little ledge, but I'm going to use a flap disc otherwise.
Okay.
Okay. You go hide from the loud. I'll be here.
I'll hide here.
0.350 down there and 0.340 up here, so I need to focus more at the bottom. It's harder to do than it looks, I'll tell you that much. I should probably put a freshie on here instead of this angled one. Oh, everybody loves a freshie. .325, .324. Good enough for me. Get some emery cloth out and smooth that out, and we'll be good to go. And there we have one pretty decently stepped down bolt off the old redneck lathe. I don't recommend that y'all do this, but I'm doing it at my own risk, so whatever. Got 3 more to do. They turned out pretty good, I gotta say. But anyway, I put the first one in, second one's going in right here. Just kind of pulling these one at a time and replacing them. I'll torque them to 30 foot-pounds. I honestly don't know if these are supposed to get a dab of blue Loctite. They probably don't, but being that I had the one come loose and blue isn't like super dangerous to use, I'm using some. So off camera I did a bunch of stuff. I actually threw the fuel injectors in. I'm missing these 4 clips though, which I don't think they're super critical because the fuel rail bolts down so the injectors can't go anywhere. I moved the one good bolt from this side to that side so it had all 4, torqued them down last night, put the valve cover, new gasket, all that crap back on. I fixed the broken nipple in this hose. I rerouted some stuff. So I've been doing stuff, I just haven't recorded it all.
I'm fine down there.
Don't fall off of my work stand. So it makes me wonder how long these 3 were starving and how critical it is for oil to get down through here. I don't really know, but clearly they made a step in those factory bolts for a reason.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. I'm gonna call you Little Boomhauer.
Yep.
Yep.
You wanna hand me that torque wrench?
Yep. Oh, where?
It's right there in the hole. So these go to 30. I'm gonna set this to 20, go through them all once, and then crank it up to 30 and go through them again.
And battery goes in here
Yep, I took the battery out, but that's where it goes.
because it broke.
No, just because I felt like it.
It fixed. Or not?
It's fixed.
And we get over on this. Huh?
That's 30. We'll hit these ones again just to make sure. Rocker shafts are fixed.
Okay.
Uncle is a cheap genius.
Okay, you done yet?
We're not done. Oh, and I also have a new hose for right here. There's like a little heater grid on the throttle body and this pumps coolant to it. And this hose was looking really roached. Finally the weekend, and I think I just got the last piece of the puzzle to finish putting this thing back together. Let me show you what it is. So when I took this thing apart, these are the little fuel injector clips that hold the injectors to the fuel rail. For whatever reason, I only had 2 on each side and the other 2 didn't have them. Basically they clip on there like that, and then this little slot right here on the side clips into the little edge of the fuel rail where it has like a rolled edge. Now, I couldn't find any local, and I ordered some online, and they got delayed. So today I went out to O'Reilly's, and I just told them to look up fuel injector clip, and I brought an old injector with, and I found these, which is SK102, I think. So these are just a little bit different, but they are the perfect size to clip onto the injector there, and they have the slots in the same place to click on the fuel rail. They're just missing those 2 little tangs, which you can see the 2 tangs. They're just like a secondary little thing that hold on to that little stepped shoulder. Either way, they're gonna work. They click on. It was like $8. So we're gonna click these on. Now let me show you what else I got done last night in here. So I got the other valve cover on. I got the coils dropped into place. I got the spark plug wires ran. Now in some places I do have these plug holders, but these wires I bought for being like NGK or whatever, this one was too long. And then the others were kind of too short, so like this one, I can't even reach the other slot of this to come back because it's just not long enough unless I go over the top of the valve cover. And they're gonna ride on here, so I'm gonna have to come up with some way to manage these a little better so they don't just sit on the engine and get cooked. Fuel rail is in. I do not have the bolts tight. I gotta put those 4 clips on this side, put the harness on, and put those harness clips on. Then we're ready for the intake to go back on. Now, the part that's going to be tricky, I kind of wanted to relocate these coils, but I decided to just put them back where they go. Now, if you look back here, so the intake sits on this surface, but this is the top of the coil bracket, And now it has 2 bolts that come down and they bolt into those 2 holes right there on the back of the intake. So I have to like shove that intake underneath of that bracket. So this is firm and it won't move. So there's just enough room to slip the intake underneath of it, but there's a locating dowel right here, which makes it really hard to slide it. You have to come in at an angle. In fact, it was very hard to get this thing out too. So I'm not quite sure. This is going to be a bit of a wrestling match. I did get that new hose put on there. I got all these looms that were missing their looming. I got them all taped up in fabric tape. On this side, I did some rerouting, including the oil pressure thing that I did originally. I kind of had it shittily routed through there. I got these lubricated with silicone because my throttle was sticking. Same thing on this side, except for I don't even have any clips. There's holes where the clips used to be, so I'm gonna have to, I gotta get all this stuff managed, but for the most part, we're really, really close here. Now today is my lovely girlfriend Amber's birthday, but she's working right now, so I got a little bit of time. Let's see how far we can get. Oh, I suppose it's the moment of truth. We'll find out if these injector clips do their job. Now I may have to jockey these injectors up or down a little bit because you have to have them at the right depth. And that sucks having to move them once you have them installed, but I'd rather do that than pull the whole thing. They look like they're pretty close. Now I did put silicone lubricant on the O-ring so that everything, normally I wouldn't even want to twist it like that, but I'm pretty confident it's not going to tear the O-rings or anything. Definitely got to go up some with this one, like back up into the fuel rail a little more. There. Oh yeah, they work. Hell yeah. Nicely done, Dan. Here's 2. Before I put this intake on, I'm definitely going to be putting the battery back in and then pressurizing this so I can, if I got any leaks, I can deal with them now. Oh no. I just pushed down on that hose and it was enough to siphon some coolant out of it. Oh yeah. Bang on the money. So now we get to put these injector bobbers on and they're in order. And we have the ever elusive clips because these are even harder to find. You can kind of pre-start them on these like that. It's a lot easier than trying to do it down here. Push those all the way down. Nice firm push, click them in. And then we give a pull on this to make sure it doesn't pop off. You guys don't even know like how stoked I am to possibly be getting this thing back. Because I really thought it was a lost cause and I just let it sit for a couple years. What I was going to do was buy the Alternative Conversions LS swap kit. And the reason you kind of need that kit on these Land Rovers is if you want to maintain all the cool stuff that this thing does with the all-wheel drive and this transmission, it requires this crazy adapter and the system that they made. And I literally went to purchase it, I think it was 2 years ago, and I found out they had just stopped making and selling them. The guy kind of closed up shop. And I was so mad. So mad. And at that point, I just kind of gave up on this thing for a while. But I'm tired of moving it around my driveway. So that's where this whole idea came from. We got a lot of more stuff to work on this thing. The brakes work great, but then sometimes you press the pedal and it's like pressing a brake. So I don't know if something's wrong with my vacuum booster or what the deal is there. I'm going to have to inspect it. The ACE system, which is the hydraulic sway bar system, they got rid of the reservoir and it's just in a closed loop with itself, so there's no reservoir for it. I got no idea if there's even fluid in it, to be honest, because there's no way to check. And then every once in a while, you got to not get ahead of yourself. You just got to stop and think, what else did I take apart? What am I forgetting? Because the last thing I want to do is put this intake on and then realize I missed a connector down there or something and have to take it back off. Okay, so I just did the old zip tie separator trick on the spark plug wires, and I've got them sitting up off of the valve cover mostly. This side's pretty close, but it looks pretty nice, you know, decent. And before I go any further, I'm basically ready to put the intake on. So we are gonna see, we're gonna pressurize the fuel rail. I just threw the battery back in. Do this like 3 times. I don't see any fuel, and more importantly, I don't smell any fuel. So I'm gonna depress the Schrader valve over here just to make sure that fuel did make it back up here. And if that's the case, I think we're good to go ahead and throw the sucker on there. Oh yeah, still some air in there though. I decided I was gonna loosen this coil bracket. The bolts are way down there, and I left the ratchet on the one. I'm hoping that after I get the intake in, I can snug that one up and find my way down to that guy right there. But that allows this to move a little bit just so I can slip the intake under it. I do believe we are ready. Whoa. I don't know what the just happened, but something arced. I almost have to watch the video to see what that was. Get this battery unhooked so that don't happen again. Dang, I cannot see anything down there. Okay, that one dropped on. This intake kind of sucks. Just putting that out there for the whole world. Ooh, that might be it. We're rocking on something though, that ain't good. It seems like these wiring harnesses were kind of bowed up, and maybe they're just pressing up on it, and when I put the bolts in it'll shift down, because this thing's huge, but only like this much of it is a sealing surface and then it's a void. So I've been fishing the bore scope down in here just to try to see if there's something blocking my way. And when I rock this thing, the only thing that I really see is this very front of the intake where it sits down. There's one of those locating studs, and it just seems like maybe it's not all the way down on it and it's just teetering a little bit. I think the bolts are just gonna suck this thing right down though. It's kind of hard to record all this piddly little stuff, but I thought I'd bring y'all in for a quick update. That rocking went away just as soon as I finger tightened those bolts. So those are torqued down to 16 foot-pounds, and so yeah, I bumped my mic cord, and the next few clips are completely audio free. I think I was just talking about reconnecting this idle air thing, and there's some of these old components from the SAI that don't even need to be there, but they were still there, so I'm hooking them back up. Just decided to pop this off to make sure there was no critters living down in there, and all I found was some sand and some junk, and I blew this out. It's relatively fresh, but cleaned it out anyway. For as long as this thing sat, I'm kind of surprised I'm not having some rodent problems. I suppose we are just about ready to give it a once over and give it a start. Sometimes this thing likes to start honking when you hook the battery up, so I got the key ready. Always just hit the unlock right away. Opening the garage, firing the hole. Hold on, you gotta say slingshot engage.
Slingshot engaged.
That's not good. Probably still air in the fuel line. Come on, wake up. It's probably not the smartest method, but I'm getting out to stick my hand on the header runners to see that each cylinder is actually firing, because then the exhaust will get hot. Yeah, you can burn yourself, but I'm just tapping them. Number one's getting hot. I haven't heard it run that smooth in forever. Oh yeah! Apparently something in the throttle's still sticking though. It doesn't seem to stick when I do it by hand. My God, I am so freaking excited. Well, this is the first time this thing has left the house in 3 years, I think. So far, so good. Does anybody know what this SRS light is? I never had that before. We're gonna take it up to 55 once. I don't want to go too far from the house, but so far it's running good. Gotta watch that temperature too. Signal out if it's fast blinking. Sounds good. I also don't know how to get back on the radio. So yeah, the drive, it went really nice, except for the part where we almost died because I blew a brake line. And now the next day you can see it's dumped everywhere. Just one more thing to fix, but it ran great. If you guys are interested in this Land Rover and actually want to see more content on it, I plan on doing another video of dealing with the oxygen sensor problem and some of these other issues that we're having. I don't know when that's going to be, but hopefully sometime soon. I know a lot of you guys are just here for the YJ stuff, but you know what? I have more vehicles than that. A lot of people complain about the JK when I make those videos, but it's just part of the fleet, just like this thing's part of the fleet. You know what? I'm going to make the videos I want to make on the stuff that I'm working on. I'm really the most excited about just taking this thing off-road because I never even got to wheel it before it broke down. Always a pleasure. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.